Hey, Ken Reed here, TV guidance counselor, and a couple weeks ago I was doing a show, yes I did leave my house, in Harvard Square at the Brattle Theater. I got there a little early, hadn't been to Harvard Square in a while, and thought I would kind of wander around, see the state of things, and thought why not film it. Totally impromptu, no research, and then posted it on social media, and a lot of people liked it, got a lot of feedback, but a couple of things. This was totally off the top of my head, so obviously not 100% factually accurate. So before we get into it, and to sort of preempt any comments I had here, yes, Harvard Square does still have some bookstores. The Harvard Coop is open. Raven Books is open on Church Street, although I don't think it was open the day that I was there. The Harvard Bookstore and Grolier's Poetry Shop are still over further down Mass Ave, and actually were very busy. Harvard Bookshop was packed. They're having a 20% off sale, so I didn't film anything there. Millionaire Picnic is still there, which is a fantastic comic book store. It's been there for years. I love that place. Armageddon Records is still there. Wusong Road, which is a new place, actually. It's a new Chinese restaurant tiki bar, and it's really, really great. What else? Let's see. Oh, where the new Friendly Toast, or the closed Friendly Toast, I still don't know, is, that used to be Grafton Street Pub, which is still in business, but moved to the space on JFK Street where Park was, which was a great restaurant, and no disrespect to Grafton Street, although this is disrespectful. Not a big fan of their food, and Park had amazing food, so I will miss it. Ooh, their meat pies. What else did I miss? Oh, the garage is still technically open. It is being gutted, and the facade will still be there, but they're going to do mixed use and get rid of all the businesses in there. Newbury Comics was still open. You'll see that in the video here. Very different from when I was growing up, that location at least. A lot of manga, a lot of J-pop, almost no CDs. Makes sense. That's the way the business is going. Not quite for me, but you gotta make money somehow, everybody. The Pit in Harvard Square, that was built in the late 70s, early 80s, not the early 70s rather. So, you know, as I said, I didn't do research here. And the Harvard Square Theater, which closed in 2012, as I've been told. So it's 10, almost 11 years closed, not 20 years, although it feels like 20. It certainly does. I think that's everything. I'm sure I forgot things. Put them down in the comments. And if you like these little tours, these dystopian tours, let me know, and I will do more of them. So please enjoy this tour of, as of this date, the current state of Harvard Square. So I'm doing a show in Harvard Square tonight. I haven't been to Harvard Square in 3 years, maybe? I don't really have the house, to be honest with you. My therapist was here. I used to come every Friday, and I hosted every Friday night at the Comedy Studio for 8 years, and then every Thursday night for another 2 years. So we're talking, and before that I was here like every week for like 2 decades. So it's weird that I haven't been here in 3 years, and also everything's closed and weird and different, and it feels like a graveyard. It's kind of freaking me out, to be honest with you. Bartley's Burger Cottage. It's like one of the few things that's still here. The guy who owns it used to own the house I live in now. And then if we go over here, you'll see the Hong Kong. This is where the Comedy Studio was for years. And I was there at least once a week for 20 years. Comedy Studio hasn't been here in like 5 years, maybe 6 years. I haven't been in this building in 6 or 7 years. Very, very strange. This is interesting. This is a Friendly Toast now. That's new. This started in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and I used to go, before we do punk rock shows, a place called the Elvis Room. This was a Chinese restaurant, I think, or a Thai restaurant. I don't remember. That's now the Friendly Toast, or isn't open yet, Friendly Toast. It looks like it's opening soon, or maybe it's open and gone out of business. This here, 1 Bow Street. This used to be a Dunkin' Donuts. This is the How Do You Like Them Apples of Good Will Hunting. That was here. This here was Oberon, which was part of Harvard's ART. I used to do shows there at least once or twice a month. Things like Mortified. You're the Expert. It was always a good venue. No longer a venue. It's now closed. Closed during the pandemic. This here is Leverett and Pierce. It's kind of the only place that's still open. That was open here in the 60s. If you saw the Julia Child show on HBO, they would have her walk past this building over and over and over again, like it was the only place in Harvard Square, because it's the only place that looks the same as it did when she was here. This house right here used to be bright yellow. If you've seen the very questionable C. Thomas Howell film Soul Man, in which he takes tanning pills in order to get into Harvard on a minority scholarship. They wouldn't let them film at Harvard, obviously. They don't let anyone really film at Harvard. But anytime they're driving, they're just driving past that building over and over and over again in a circle, because that's the only part of Harvard Square they could film in. This here is the Pit. It is a sunken down part of the street that was built in the early 70s so that street musicians could play here and be shielded from the traffic sounds. But instead, it was just where like punk rock kids used to hang out when I was growing up. That would be the place pre-cell phone where he would meet people, because people would always be hanging out here and causing problems. I once saw Evan Dando throw up here, and this here was Out of Town News, which was a little newsstand that had been there forever, and it's where I used to get like UK magazines and stuff like that. It is now closed. This coming soon Starbucks used to be the Curious George bookstore for years and years and years. It was one of the only completely dedicated children's bookstores. Went out of business because kids don't read anymore. This is Cardullo's, one of the last places in Harvard Square that was still part of Harvard Square when I was growing up. They have excellent sandwiches. This here was the Border Cafe, which was one of the only Mexican restaurants in the area. It is now a boarded up, post-apocalyptic looking hellhole? Nah, it's not quite a hellhole. But it's not really a restaurant or anything. We're approaching the Harvard Square Theater, and I will tell you about it when I get there. This here was the Harvard Square Theater. It is, I guess, still the Harvard Square Theater, although it's been shuttered for probably almost 20 years now. I saw Kids in the Hall Brain Candy here. I used to go see movies here all the time. I would often run into John Malkovich. I wouldn't actually, that's a lie. People I know would run into John Malkovich here. So that's what that was going on there. More closed up buildings. There's a church where I did a Risk show. I saw Thurston Moore play there once. I think the church is still open. Did churches go out of business? Yeah, I guess they do. The Harvard Square Theater here is where the Rocky Horror Picture Show was every week for 30 years or something like that, so the thing closed. I don't think it moved anywhere. I think they just don't do it anymore. Everything's closed. This is the Sinclair, which was a new venue about 8 years ago. It's still open. I've done stand-up there, did the Eugene Merman Comedy Festival there. Did an ACLU benefit there, saw the band Goblin there. So that's still open. Looks like they're still doing shows there, so that's one thing that's open. At one point, this area of Harvard Square had the most bookstores per capita in the entire world. Behind me over here was a, where was it? Here. There? Yeah, I'm bad at this. There was a Booksmith, and the woman who wrote Girl Interrupted worked there while the events of Girl Interrupted were happening. And I saw Girl Interrupted at the Brattle Theater, where I'll be performing this evening. And she was there. That was pretty exciting. Also, that Booksmith, I interviewed Anne Heche, rest in peace, Anne Heche, on September 10th, 2001, when her biography was coming out. And came into work the next day to tell everybody all about my strange evening, and then I got my thunder stolen by 9/11, so that was the thing. Yeah, nothing's here. Dixon Brothers Housewares over here, that had been there forever. That is closed. This was a candy store that was here forever and is also closed. Over where the GNC is. If you see a GNC, it means the place you're in is post-apocalyptic. That used to be an HMV Records. I don't think there's any bookstores still in Harvard Square. Yeah, I guess I didn't miss much. Kind of a bum out here. And finally, this is the Brattle Theater where I'm performing on a show this evening. I've been coming to this place for 30 plus years. Saw Eraserhead here for the first time. My friend stopped talking to me after that. Have done shows here. I think the last time I was here, I did a show with John Hodgman here. I think we introduced The Dead Zone, the Stephen King film. But yeah, the Brattle Theater is still here, essentially where the Midnight movie was invented, believe it or not. And yeah, it's nice that they're still here at least, so there's that.